Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's look, I was getting ready and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna actually film this. So I don't know if to call this a get ready with me or what in the world to call it, but obviously you'll know before me what I'm gonna call it. I did this just subtle, kind of like Kylie inspired eye with a fall lip. So if you want to know how I recreated everything, then please stay tuned. And before I jump into the video, I also want to say thank you so much for helping me reach 10,000 subscribers. It was honestly a goal of mine that I set to hit in December, and the fact that I hit it in August really speaks volume of you guys. I was literally at 4,000 subscribers just last month, and I told myself, okay, there's about 6 months left of the year, so each month I'm gonna try and hit 1,000 subscribers, and I reached that within a month. So I'm super blessed and super thankful, to say the least. And like I said, I don't want to keep blabbering, so let's just jump right into it. So I'm just gonna start off with clipping everything out of my face, porque si no, it's a hot mess. I mean, it still is a hot mess right now, but you know what I mean. So the first thing I'm going to be using is my Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion. Pretty sure I've mentioned this in a video, and if I haven't, then have I? I don't even know. This is just going to go all over the eye. Using the Deluxe Conceal Brush, I'm going to just be using this to press the primer in place. I'm going to be taking the Shadow Shields and using this like I would Scotch tape underneath the eyes. I'm hecka dumb. When I first used these, I took off all of the tape, and you don't need to take off all of it. Typically, I'll cut these because you don't need all of it. I find that if you cut it, you can use it on both sides. But I was too lazy to grab my scissors right now, so this is what we're going to do. After doing this, you kind of just got to pray that you got them on right, because if you didn't, fucked everything up. So I just recently bought the Luxie brushes, the Dreamcatcher collection. So I messed around with the brushes not too long ago, but you're gonna see me use them a little bit more today. The palette that I'm gonna be using today is the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. So I wanna create just something soft but still defined. Think Kylie-esque. Kind of like those kind of moments. I'm going to be taking the lighter color, Tempera, and popping this right underneath the brow bone. Tempera. And then taking a little bit of that again, and using this in the inner corner. I was watching Grey's Anatomy. I've been watching Grey's Anatomy this entire summer because I still can't wait for the new season to come out. Even though I've already watched every single season and every single episode, I have a problem. Don't judge. Okay, now I'm going to be taking the shade Burnt Orange and just throwing that into the crease. Okay, I guess the reason why I didn't like this brush at first when I first tried it is because even though it blends the colors out good, I feel like I have too big of a crease and I need something that's just going to be a little bit quicker. So I'm taking Morphe's M501 brush with the same burnt orange, and I'm gonna throw it down. I'm gonna be getting Invisalign pretty soon, if not this week, then next week, and I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know if you guys want to see videos on that, but if you do, let me know, so I can make sure I record everything and kind of vlog the process for you. Next, I'm gonna take the shade Realger, which is that last color in the corner, and I'm gonna use this with, what brush do I want to use? Beach Fun. I'm using Luxie's 231 small tapered blending brush for this. And I'm going to concentrate this in the outer corner. And then to blend that out, I'm using Morphe's M511 brush. This one is one of my favorite brushes for sure. Think of a 217 on steroids, and that's this brush. Think of 217 on a Thanksgiving day, and that's this brush. You can kind of just go in, throw everything down, and it takes care of everything else for you. I'm going to take a smidge, un poquito, of red ochre right here. That's the one I'm going to take with that same brush that I was using by Luxie, the small tapered blending brush. Not even trying to blend it out. I'm going to just poke it in this little corner here. What you want to make sure that you do with this color too is just kind of like drag it in to your lash line. I'm rather content with how that looks. I'm using Luxie's 217 pencil brush, and I'm going to be picking up Cypress Umber, and using this color as eyeliner. So starting it where I just placed that last color and just kind of flicking the eyeshadow out and using the shadow shield as a guideline for everything. I think the main goal with this look is to make sure that there's no distinct harsh lines. Like that's the last thing you want in this look. Now taking Primavera and packing this in with the eye shading brush by Luxie again, but I want to make sure that I wet the brush a little bit so that of course, you know, it gets a little bit more pigmented and not a lot of fallout. And stamping this right onto the lid. Yes, Primavera, come through. I think one of the biggest tips I can give you, I don't know if I've said it in a tutorial before, don't go in and like swipe the color everywhere. What you want to do is just pack the color, making sure you do the same to the other side. I mean, why wouldn't you do the same thing to the other side, right? Ay, Daniela, get it together. Yo, these colors are hella pigmented when you wet it. Like to the point where I wasn't expecting it. Like to the point where I gotta take some off. Going back in with that Morphe 217 version that's on steroids. That looks like it just had its Thanksgiving feast. Alright, so really quickly what I'm going to do off camera is apply, curl my lashes. I'm going to curl my lashes, apply my mascara, and then see what lashes I want to do. So once I do that, then I will be right back. Oh, so now that we have put on mascara, thrown on lashes, the lashes that I chose to use today are by Kate House. They're the Wispy K lashes. They're a nice kind of twist on wispies. They're a little bit like more flared out. So I really like using this when I want something just natural. So the primer I'm going to be picking up is by MAC. This is a skin-based visage. Honestly, an OG. It's an old guy in MAC. It's been around for a really long time. It's like one of the first primers that they ever carried. And I honestly just don't know what primers are good anymore. So I'm in the market for a new primer. So if you know of any, just holla. Holla how to play 'em. Okay, so once you've worked that all the way in, ever since I came back from Cancun, I've been a lot more tan these days. So the only foundation that I've really been liking is the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation. I actually bought this a really long time ago, but it never really completely matched me until now. So I'm just placing this all over. Some people say they don't like this foundation because it's not sanitary and you're constantly dipping the foundation onto your skin. So if that's like a deal breaker for you, then just put it on the back of your hand and you can call it a day. To blend out the foundation, I'm going to be taking the Real Techniques. This is the Expert Face Brush. I actually really love the Real Technique brushes because they're super soft, and kabuki brushes like this, they really just get the job done with foundation. They don't take foundation off of what you applied. It literally uses what you used and what you placed and just buffs it in so that you get nice full coverage. So now that we've finished foundation, I want to go in with my concealer. My concealer routine hasn't changed, honestly. I'm still using the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. And take it just right up underneath. Still going in with that Real Techniques face brush and just slightly buffing out the concealer. And then using whatever's left on the brush and highlighting the skin with it. Using the Real Techniques Beauty Sponge, I actually just recently got set a new one, but as you can tell, I really love these. And it works really similar like the Beauty Blender, where if you dip it in water, it expands so it gets a lot bigger. And I really enjoy using this because you have the advantage of the pointed side, like the Beauty Blender, but it also has a really flat side. So I'm going to show you how I like to use that in just a bit, but make sure that you blend out the concealer before it completely dries, because that won't be too cute. And just to highlight a little bit more, I like to take NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This is in the shade Light to Vanilla. But you know what I'm realizing right now? People are hella funny. You know, they're like, oh, that Clinique foundation isn't sanitary because of the sponge. You do the same thing with concealer. People don't complain about concealers having applicator like that. So really, I'm a little confused. Alright, so once you're content with how your foundation and the concealer looks, you want to make sure that you set everything in place with the powder. So I'm taking Luxie's 502 large powder brush and taking a medium golden MSF by MAC. Just dipping my brush in there and pressing the powder in place. So using Luxie's large angle, this is the 504 brush, and Too Faced Chocolate Soleil. And I'm gonna contour just ever so slightly. I don't want like a harsh contour, just something that'll, you know, I'm actually going to school later, so I'm not trying to scare people off or nothing. Contour a bit on the forehead, but just make sure you avoid a helmet. Once I contour, I feel like I get my life back. Anybody else feel that way? No? Just me? Alright. So to bake my concealer, I'm going to be using the RCMA No Color Powder. And I just dumped that into like the back of a palette that I have laying around. Take that pointed side, right? And you're going to start pushing that into the skin. Okay. Alright, and then once you've done that, take the flat side of the sponge and you're going to carve out that contour. Do you see how easy it is with that flat side? Ugh, I die. Me muero. Oh, yes. Okay, and then if you're somebody that suffers from creases in your smile line, you can even go on it a little bit right there. And now I just look crazy. Alright, screenshot this, make your funniest memes. I want to see what you got. I really don't like to let the baking underneath happen for too long because you don't want it to bake for too long. So what I'm going to do is just go back in with that powder brush that I was using earlier and nick the bottom off. And you see the difference that makes? It just completely snatches your contour. Okay, so ahora, still using that Modern Renaissance palette that we've been using and using Luxie's 221 flat definer brush. I'm going to use Red Ochre, this one, and placing this in the lower lash line. Blending that out a little bit with that small tapered blending brush. I didn't pick up more product, I'm just using whatever was left on the brush. Alright, and then wipe your brush off, that flat definer. Wipe that flat definer brush off again. Go back in with Cypress Umber, which is the darkest color from the palette, that dark brown. And you're going to place that a little bit closer to the lash line. Sheet balls. There we go. Yes! A lot of you on Snapchat always ask me what white I have in my waterline, so this is what I use. I use Pure White Chromoline by MAC, and I use Fascinating. What I do is go in with Fascinating, and I pick up a little bit of the Pure White Chromoline, just a pinch. You don't want, you don't really need a lot. And the reason I do this is because Pure White is a lot more pigmented versus Fascinating, which wears off on me. It's a white, but it's not as pigmented as Pure White, so I'm like, why not just combine the two and make life a lot easier? Yes. You guys remember this from my last video if you watched it. This is Accentuate Pro Sculpting Powder by MAC, and using this just to dust off the powder. So now you can put on mascara on your lower lash line. So if you don't know, now you know. Extended play mascara, that's where it's at. So let me just do a little bit of this, because I can do this for days. So now for my inner corner highlight, I'm going to be taking Vermeer, which is that lighter color here. Focusing that just ever so gently in the inner corner. So taking Max Fix Plus Spray, this is going to go basically drowning my skin in it. So this brush is kind of big. It's called a tapered face brush, but I'm going to try using it for my blush and see how that works out. So I'm taking MAC's Copper Tone blush, just focusing that on like one side of the brush, tapping off any excess. I'm going to actually kind of dust that on my hand first. Yeah, I actually really like how that lays down the color because I didn't want anything too intense. And then for my highlight, I'm going to be using Becca's Champagne Pop. Okay. So going in with Luxie's 508 Dual Fiber Stippling Brush and just buffing everything in. And once you've finished off your makeup, I like to go in with the makeup finishing spray. This is the oil control version by Skindinavia, and just spritz that all over the skin. Apparently the makers of this also make Urban Decay's All Nighter spray, so I don't know if they have the same ingredients. I haven't really looked into that, but if you are looking for another alternative to the Urban Decay makeup finishing spray, then you can, or All Nighter spray, sorry, then you can definitely try giving this one a try. Okay, so I'm actually just gonna go finish off doing my hair. Once I do that, then I'll be right back to show you what lipstick and everything else I chose to use. So stay tuned. All right, so now that I'm back, I wanna let you guys know that I used Plum Lip Pencil and Anastasia Beverly Hills Veronica liquid lipstick. So if you have any comments or questions on this look, then please leave everything in the comment section down below. All the details I use are also going to be listed down below. If you haven't already, then don't forget to subscribe. All of my social medias are also going to be listed down below, including my Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Which I'm trying to get the ball rolling on that. Like, I want to be leaving like polls and stuff like that. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and until next time, bye.